Hello and welcome to episode 13. I'm in Greenock in beautiful Scotland at the moment, and to the right of me is the Clyde, and to think that the Clyde produced 30% of the world's tonnage shipping around the world at that time. Anyway, let's move over to the garage and take a look. Hello and welcome back to the garage. So the first job I want to do is take out these corner pieces. So obviously there's two in the bow, two in the transom, and then that clears the way. Then I can then plane down this ply level with the gun wall, and then that gives us a datum point to work from. So make that the first job. Now if you can remember earlier on in the series, I partially cut these just to make it easier for when I came to this part of the job. So there's probably about a quarter to a third left timber there, so I've just got to cut the last bit out, and no doubt I'm going to have to chisel it because there's going to be a little bit of epoxy around, what have you. But I'll see if I can get it out. Yeah, that's pretty good. Little bit fiddly, but yeah, I'll get the next three done. So that's all four corners out now. So the next job is to start and plane this plywood down now, flush with the gun wall. So that's both sides planed up now. I'm just going to give them a little bit of a sand over. I'm not going to give it too much because it'll all be sanded over later on anyway. So that's that side done as well. Now I've got some of the framework here for the quarter knees, which I made some time ago before the transom got put onto the boat, and I've left it slightly long. As you can see there, there is a pencil line. The holes have been pre-put in. The holes have been pre-put into the piece of wood, but this was obviously marked out before all this went on. So I'm just going to shape this up a little bit on the end, just take a little bit off and then get a neat fit, and then cut off the excess here. This is where the end of the quarter knee will come to, and I'll mark that, and then we can cut the excess off that later when I've cut the quarter knees out. Now I've shaped it. Doesn't matter if there's a bit of a gap there or anything. I can make some epoxy filler up later when I can actually come to glue it in. But what I'm going to do for the moment, I'm just going to dry fit it. Just want to dry fit all this, ready for making a template for the quarter knees, which I should be doing a little bit later. Now I've got this piece of wood here, which is a part of the corner knee, which has got to go on. This is where the corner knee ends, where the pencil lines are here, and it's been set down, obviously 6mm. I'm just going to drill them now, set it in the chuck, the depth I want to go at. Another one this side. And then I want to counterbore it slightly. So I'm using 30mm screws. Right, I'll just leave that as a dry fit for the moment. I'll get the other 3 done, and then I can then start making some templates. Well, that's all the quarter frames shaped and fitted on each corner. Now, if you look here, I've put some pencil marks, whether you can see them, and that's where the blocking's going to land. And I've put some wood to one side for that. I've got some of this here, some nice dark wood, sapelli or sapele, depending on what neck of the woods that you're from and how you pronounce it. So I'm going to cut these into strips now and make some blocks, and also a larger block, obviously, for the rowlocks. So that'll be the next job. Right, I've got a nice little section of wood here. I'm just going to chop this now, and this will make 2 pieces for the rowlocks blocks. So right, get those cut out. Earmuffs on. There we go. Split that now. Shape that. Yeah, I've got to take about a third off of these roll-lock blocks. So we'll just try it on the planer earmuffs again. I'll find out each time how much that is taking off. It's probably just taking off at about 1mm at a time. So I'll just turn it up a bit more. Right, I'll just turn it down a bit more. Finer cuts now. Took a tiny chip out. Yeah, that'll do. So I've got the components made up now. I've got the two pine wood blocks which will go underneath these roll-lock blocks here, and then the other blocks, these are slightly longer. There's 4 of those, and then I've got 6 of these standard size blocks. So they're made up, so we can start looking at offering those up to the inside of the boat now. I've been looking at marking out the tops of the internal frames so as we can put the blocking in and the inner rail there. I'm quite happy with that, so I'm going to go along now and mark out the rest of them. Right, so I'm going to offer a square up there, and I've already marked out where the blocks are going to land, so I'm just going to come across here now. And then measure another 15mm down to allow the depth of the inner rail. Now, as you can see here, this material is going to be waste on top, but before I cut any of that out, I want to cut this line down to where the inner rail goes. So I'm going to do that first. Normally I would have used a saw like this, but obviously that's a bit big to get in there, so I've just got a junior hacksaw, so I'll just have to work my way through. I've got a line here, I'll just follow that line down and then follow this angle that's going with the boat. Right, I've just replotted some lines there so you can see. I'm going to have to use the junior hacksaw again, getting as far as I can and get the rest of it with a chisel. So that's the first one I've done. I gave it a little bit of a fettling. It's not come out too bad. Yeah, so I've just got the other 5 more to do now. Now on this one I do have a bit of clearance to use the saw, so use the coping saw. So I'm just going to pilot the blocks now, ready to offer up onto the boat. Right, I'm going to counterbore these holes now for the screw. Right, I'll just send the drill through to pilot this this part of the boat. Make sure it's not moving. actually use a G-clamp, would be better. Yeah, I've got a clamp on this one. Should hold it a little bit better now. Just dry fitting these for the moment. Just note that this one here was sanded back a little bit to take the shape, because it sharpens at this point here on the gun wall, so I shaped the block to suit. Well, that's all the blocks fitted now, all the way around. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take those off, and then we can mix some epoxy filler up, stroke glue, and we can fit all these blocks on. When I take these off, I'm going to trim these off to the actual size that they need to be, where the lines are now. So yeah, let's mix up some glue. Right, we're going to start looking at putting these corner knee frames on. Now look at putting these blocks on. The temperature's quite warm at the minute here, so the cure time might be rather quick, so I don't want to hang around. Well, as you can see, the blocks have they've all dried, they've all gone off. I've just dry fitted the inner rail. I just wanted to make sure that they're going to fit okay, there's no splitting or anything like that, and it gives the wood chance to sort of like settle and relax and stretch, and it has done. It's done really well. I've got no problems with it whatsoever. If you notice here, I've put the radiuses on with the router. They feel really nice. I'm really pleased with those. I've not bothered filming it because I did it. I did some routing in a previous episode. So what I'll do, I'll get all the clamps off, and I'll mix some resin up, and we'll get this one fitted. Right, so I've mixed some filler up. I've also done both sides. I've sanded around the blocks, so it's all neat and tidy. Yeah, done both sides of that. So we can look at offering this inner gun wall now, or the rail. If you notice the shape, can you see the shape there? When we go to the timber yard, we generally eye down a piece of timber for it to look straight. I think in the case of fitting a gun wall, I think you need to find the most bent timber to help you out. So that's a top tip, that is. If you ever build one of these, go to the stockyard and find the most bendiest timber you can. It's a great help. Right, let's get some some epoxy resin onto this now with a little bit of filler in, and see if we can get it fixed on. Making a mess. Well, that's the rail, inner rail all clamped up now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start to pilot some holes in and start to put some screws in to pin it all back. Decent depth. Slightly larger drilling, account for it. Right, I'm going to go in and pilot this one into the hard block. These are going to be brass. Right, I'm going to countersink that. That's it. Right. To have all the cross at the top, the slot, sorry, I'm going to bump the camera, keep the slot at the top vertical, I think, and have them all like that. Okay, get the rest of them in now. This wood always makes you want to drift off. Right, where the block goes for the row lock, I've used slightly longer screws because I want to do a bit of the old belts and braces. I'm going to put these in now next. Right, shift this clamp here and then get the last one in over this side. There's a slight step here, that doesn't matter because these will be cut out. Maybe cut along here and beveled down slightly so we can reduce the angle, which we'll see later. Well, that's this side done. And now I'll look at getting the other side on. As you can see there, I'm just pre-bending it, ready for going on. Let's get that fitted. So that's both the inner rails done. Sadly over here I had a drill that snapped on me, so I'm going to drill that out and put a piece of dowel in and then just chisel it level and sand that off. And then generally it's just some sanding, a little bit of planing to blend it all in. The next job I've got is this transom double here, which I haven't fitted in yet, so that's going to be the next job. But first of all I've got to cut it out on each side and offer it up, make sure it fits, and then mix some epoxy, and then we can get that glued on. Now, just looking at this, I've already marked out a little bit. Of course it's been built up and it's had the fillets put in and what have you, and I've got to bear in mind it's coming further down, so my measurements that I've marked out originally probably aren't too far off, but I'm going to give myself a little bit more material, I think, just in case. So I've got this area here to cut out, and the same obviously on the other side, so we'll get them cut out on the bandsaw. Right, I've just mixed some epoxy up with a little bit of filler. Just even it all out. Right, each side's glued up now, so I'm ready to offer this up. Now unfortunately I've got a bit ahead of myself there. Probably should have left a bit more material, but never mind, I can fill it. Right, let's just get some clamps on. Right, I'll get a few more clamps on that, and probably something around here, and then we can leave that to set. Well, thanks for watching episode 13. It's coming to a close now. There's quite a lot that's been involved in this, so there's just the episode would have gone on for too long, so I'm going to just do an extra one for the row-lock blocks and the quarter knees, and a little bit of cutting here, cutting out for when the quarter knees go down. If you would like to like and subscribe, and also if you would like to buy me a coffee, you can do that on the QR code or the link which is on my page. Anyway, until next time, I'll see you in episode 14. Goodbye.